Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV coming to you tonight with an update on the migration crisis in Ceuta, Spain, which is, it's part of Spain, but it's on the northern coast of Africa, near Spain, but again, it's on the northern coast of Africa, and it is next to Morocco. And today there was a mass migration of migrants from Morocco into Ceuta. Some reports say tens of thousands. I've seen multiple reports, including one from a member of the government in Ceuta, that claimed that tens of thousands of people crossed the border. The population of Ceuta is normally around 80,000. So we want to bring you an update on that. There's also some reports tonight. You know, there's a second enclave in North Africa next to Morocco called, is it Melilla? I think Melilla. And there's reports that people might be going across the border there as well. That's also a Spanish enclave in North Africa next to Morocco. So we're going to try to bring you some updates here about what's going on. Take your comments and questions on the air. Show some little video. And, yeah, again, I'm not sure about the situation in Melilla. There's some videos floating around, but tough to tell really what's going on. I'm going to be checking some of the Spanish media as well. Although Spain time right now, Spain time is in mainland Spain, it's 2:05 a.m. Is it the same for, is it the same for Ceuta? I have to look up there. Yeah, 2:06 a.m. in Ceuta as well. So I don't know how many updates we're going to be getting from Spanish media. So let's talk about this and get you up to date. And I want to show you where we're talking about. It can be a bit confusing with the geography. There's Ceuta, Spain, and you can see there's mainland Spain. And across the water, across the Strait of Gibraltar is Ceuta. That is Spain, but it's surrounded by water in Morocco. See, this is Morocco. And that is Spain. So what some people do is they try to swim from Morocco to Ceuta. I believe a bunch of people swam today, although I heard that there were some people crossing over land as well. But a bunch of people swam. I believe it's several miles you need to swim. But that's what we're talking about. Ceuta is right here. Now, an AOK said there were some boats. I'll have to look it up. All right. Hey, by the way, let me thank our moderators who are here before we get into the details. We have Ruth moderating right now. Thank you, Ruth. Haley Girl is moderating. Thank you. We also have moderating on Twitch, Bastion Girl, Big Ball of Yarn, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, and Flux Eternus. Thank you for moderating. We also have moderating Linda Belk, Larry, Misha moderate for us on X, and also we have Andrea Holder is moderating over there on Facebook. Kay Lowry Body, thank you. Thanks Dolly Clark, Jennifer Ellers, and Dan Allworth for subscribing. Okay, and thanks to Morgana and Hugh Crummond, our members. I'll probably show you some video to start. There's some striking video today of just huge crowds of people flowing into the country. It's in the country. Ceuta is not its own country, but flowing into Ceuta, Spain, from across the border, and just not having the not nearly the officers there to deal with it. Now, there's this interesting question as to why this happened today. We're going to talk about that too. Why today? Why not other days? So that's an interesting question. You can see there from AP, they have a graphic that says thousands of people have crossed into the Spanish territory of Ceuta from Morocco. I think I can pull up this graphic bigger. Wait, let me just get organized here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, there it is. There it is right there. Thousands of people have crossed into the Spanish territory of Ceuta from Morocco. And also, I do want to mention, we'll be checking up on this, but in terms of that other enclave, the other Spanish enclave, so we have Ceuta is here, but there's also over, is it here? Where is it? Where is, now I'm getting confused. Melilla. Oh, Melilla right there. Sorry, I was spelling it wrong. Melilla. There is Melilla, Spain. See that? So Ceuta is here, and Melilla is here. And Melilla is it's a Spanish, it's part of Spain, but it's surrounded by Morocco, and it's across the water from mainland Spain. So there are some reports coming out of there tonight claiming that some people are trying to get over the border into Spain in Melilla. So a lot going on. All right, so let's talk about this. I think I'm going to, you can see here, Spain deploys military to Ceuta after thousands of people breach Morocco's border and at least 9 die. I'm going to get into the details of this. You can also see arrivals had been increasing, but reasons are still unclear. Why don't we look at some video first? I'm going to show you some video. There is a photo from AP I want to show you though. Look at that. Migrants cross from Morocco into the Spanish enclave of Ceuta. Migrants try to cross from Morocco into the Spanish enclave of Ceuta. Wait. Belongings left behind by migrants. Migrants cross into the Spanish enclave of Ceuta. Hang on. So let me show you a couple photos, then we'll show you some video. That's a picture from today. Belongings of migrants. There's a picture. And again, there are some officers there, but they're just nowhere near the officers that they would need to stop people from coming in. So I was reading some articles that just said that that's not what they were prioritizing today, because they didn't have the manpower to do it, apparently. They're bringing in the military. Where's the other photo here? No, I just showed you that one. No, I looked at both of them. All right, we're going to show you some video. Before we get to the video and start talking about this in more detail, I want to mention Tormented Tantalus. That is very generous of you. Tormented Tantalus just gave 50 of you in the chat memberships. 50 people got memberships from our viewer Tormented Tantalus. So please thank Tormented Tantalus if you just got a membership. Very generous of Tormented Tantalus. Thank you so much. Also, thank you to Dealer, who says Gibraltar equals England in the not even Spain. Well, I mentioned the Strait of Gibraltar. If you look at the map here, I mentioned the Strait of Gibraltar. That's what I mentioned. Because I said, Ceuta is in North Africa, but it's across the Strait of Gibraltar from Spain. But at the same time, what you might have been talking about is the fact that Gibraltar is a British territory, which is on the southern coast next to Spain. Gibraltar. That might have been what Dealer 330 was talking about right there. Thank you, Dealer 330. I appreciate that. Also, PVC Swede, thank you, who says sad but true Metallica. And also David Costa Jax. Yeah, so look, I've seen several people in the chat say it's pronounced like this, it's pronounced like this. Look, I looked it up, there's English, on Wikipedia there's an English pronunciation, there's a British pronunciation, there's a Spanish pronunciation, and I think there's an Arabic pronunciation. So Ceuta to me seems like a decent approximation of the Spanish pronunciation. It's not exact. I'm going to go with that. So I'm sorry if it's not the pronunciation you would prefer, but there are multiple different ones. Just to prove it to you, without getting into the details. Ceuta, UK pronunciation, US pronunciation, Spanish pronunciation, and Moroccan Arabic pronunciation. So I'm going to say Ceuta. Ceuta. I'm sorry if it's not correct, but I looked it up, I spent some time, that's what I'm going with. When I watched some videos in Spanish, they seem to be pronouncing it a bit of a different way that I didn't feel confident in pronouncing. Thank you so much, David Costa Jax. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And also Rail Break Music. Thank you, Rail Break Music, for being a member. All right, let's look at some of the video. I have some video from today. This is video that I bought from Reuters via Atlas. So I want to show you some video, and then we'll talk about some of the details. But just to give you a sense, if you haven't seen it, there's a lot of videos floating around of what it looked like, well, what some of it looked like today. Trent F. Drum says it's going to be bad. Also, this is a big political issue in Spain. So, hey, hang on a moment here. Hang on a moment here. Let me just do something here. Good. Okay, now. Where is, I wanted to put this up. Should say earlier today. Video from Atlas via Reuters. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Hang on a moment. Give me one more moment, and I'm going to show you. No, there's no live feed I'm aware of right now. If I had a live feed, I would show you. Okay, here is this video to show you some of what it was like today. Hang on, I want to put my headphones on because that way you won't hear two things. Oh, and I got to put this on the screen. No, not that. Where is the... There. Earlier today, video from Atlas via Reuters. Yeah, so I mean, it was pretty, a lot of this is really chaotic scenes. People, just a wave of people.
Vemos en estos momentos cómo se está llegando a gente, rescatando a gente que lo estaría pasando, que estarían pidiendo auxilio aquí en la zona, y detrás de esta tremenda imagen de todas estas personas bajando, saltando y tocando.
That voiceover was talking about how we're seeing all these people arriving, see these images of people jumping out of the boat and getting off the boat. And look at, I mean, just look at the crowd. It's really striking video. There's a lot of different video of this. Again, this is a video that I can show you. By the way, reportedly, I saw a report that I believe around 9 people passed away in this mass movement of people. Many people reportedly swam. I believe you have to swim several miles. I believe it was mostly young men from the reports I read. Now, if you're talking about swimming several miles, you're probably not going to have a lot of old people doing that. So I hope that person ended up okay. But here again are some of the pictures from earlier today.
Vemos en estos momentos cómo se está llegando a gente, rescatando a gente que lo estaría pasando, que estarían pidiendo auxilio aquí en la zona, y detrás de esta tremenda imagen de todas estas personas bajando, saltando y tocando.
Look at the background there. Look at all the people coming in the background. I'm going to get some more video too for you. I think I'm going to get another video for you. Let me just, if I take, because I think it's helpful for you to see it. And we're going to get into some of the details of this. Give me 1 second here. Just hang tight for a second. I got to buy another video for you. There was a couple I was looking at, and so I'm going to do it now. Where is the, hold on. Yeah, I just think that's probably the best. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's a raw one. That could be helpful. Oh, this is going to be very helpful, I think. Yeah, this is quite helpful. I'm going to get this one. This is a Reuters one. All right, so let me just get this one for you as well. I'm going to show you the second video. Then we'll talk about some of the details. Now, by the way, a quick thanks. 86 GOP Forever, 86 just gave 50 people memberships. That is very generous of 86. So please, if you got one of those 50 memberships, thank 86 for your membership. Earlier, Tormented Tantalus gave 50. Now 86 gave 50. That's really kind of you. Thank you. Also, Relaxing Future says it's 99% men. I believe it was mostly young men. And again, people, from what I understand, most people who came in were swimming a long distance. So that would be one reason that it might be tilted towards younger people. But I don't know all the specifics here. We'll talk about some of the details in a second. Also, a quick thank you to, I'm going to show you some more video. A quick thank you to Relaxing Future, who says, best of luck, Spain. Jeff TE88. Jeff says, looks kind of like the U.S. during the prior administration. Bill Melugin, who is an immigrant, he does reporting for Fox News, and he does a lot of reporting on immigration. He had said something today where he had covered some stuff. Where was this? In El Paso, where Bill was? And he said it reminded him of that. Give me a second. Maybe I can quickly give you what Bill said. Yeah, Bill Melugin of Fox News said, oh, wait a second here. Today, he was looking at video coming out and said, Bill said it reminded him of Del Rio, Texas in 2021 with the Haitian surge. Similar images. Now, again, there's this question of like, why today? I mean, it wasn't like that every day. There had been increased numbers recently, but not like this. We'll talk about this. I think back in like 2021 or 2022, there was some issue where there was some sort of disagreement between the Moroccan government and the Spanish government over something else. And then during that time, Morocco on their end stopped stopping people from crossing, and a lot of people crossed then. We'll get into talk about today. I've seen a couple articles say it's not clear why today so many came over. Something happened. Now, Bill says this is what the DSA socialist platform looks like in practice in another country: no borders, no immigration enforcement, complete freedom of movement without any resistance from the government. And that's what Bill says. Again, though, this is not every day over there. I'm very interested in knowing why were there so much more today? Because clearly they did not have the personnel in place to deal with what they got today. You can follow Bill at Bill Melugin _. I follow Bill. Before we get into some more details, I want to show more. I have more video to show you. Thank you, In the Wind, for your support. That's very generous of you, In the Wind. I really appreciate your support. Thank you. Also, Miss Judy Williams. Miss Judy says, what's the current cost of a full-body wetsuit? That I do not know, Judy Williams. Thank you also. Thank you, Gingrich M., who says, it is wise to have a healthy fear of this. Also, the NJ Weave. Thank you, NJ Weave, for your support. Malta McMurtry, thanks for being a member. I am Charlie, thanks. It sounds like I am Charlie prefers the term illegal immigrant to migrant. Thank you, I am Charlie, and RSpat617, who thinks it's a problem for all of Europe, and thanks for being a member. All right. So, and rated R Roy on Twitch, thanks for subscribing, and Cece, thanks for your support on Twitch. Thank you, Cece. So again, what we're talking about is, you can see this headline. We'll get into some more details shortly. Spain deploys military to Ceuta after thousands of people, possibly tens of thousands, breach Morocco's border with Ceuta, which is part of Spain, and at least 9 die. And as we were showing you, here's a graphic from AP. So this is Morocco, and this is mainland Spain here, but this is part of Spain, Ceuta, which is part of North Africa and is surrounded over here by Morocco and water. I believe, if I have it right, there are 2 land crossings into the EU from Africa, and both of them are Spanish. This is one of them. It's in Africa, but it is a land crossing into the EU on the African continent. That's one, and the other one is Melilla, and that's also Spanish, and that's also in North Africa, and it's also surrounded. It's also next to Morocco. And as I mentioned, and we'll talk more about this, there are reports tonight that there may be people, a large number of people trying to cross the border in Melilla. So again, there's Spain is here, mainland Spain is here, here's Morocco. So there's Africa. See, there's Africa. We're talking about North Africa. There's Morocco. And Melilla, Ceuta is right here. That's part of Spain, but it's next to Morocco. And Melilla is over here. There's Melilla. Where is it here? Why can I not find it? Melilla. See, it says Melilla right there. Melilla. All right. So let's look at some more video here. We'll be taking your comments on the air. No, I don't have any live cams right now. If I had it, I'd show it to you. Okay. Rocket Trace says, unbelievable. Here is another video that I just bought for you from Reuters. This is one from Reuters showing some of the scenes from today. Make sure I pull up the right one. Is it this one? That's the one we just saw. Here's the one from Reuters. Okay, now let's hit play. Look at this. Wow. Okay, look at I keep saying look at this, but wow. Look at the people, again, coming out of the water and just coming into Ceuta. So the population of Ceuta is normally around 80,000. A local government official, according to the New York Times, a local government official in Ceuta claimed that tens of thousands of people crossed the border today. I believe there was another article I was reading that said there was a claim that dozens of thousands crossed. But again, there was a local official who told the New York Times quoted, who claimed that tens of thousands had crossed. All right, let me keep playing here. just coming out of the water and coming into to Ceuta.
Sí, he cruzado por la mañana a las 10:30 más o menos. Bueno, con un grupo, como todo el mundo lo que está pasando ahora.
I know a bit of Spanish, so I can translate here. He said, we came across at 10:30 in the morning. Hold on. Let's try this again.
Sí, he cruzado por la mañana a las 10:30 más o menos. Bueno, con un grupo, como todo el mundo lo que está pasando ahora.
He said, we crossed around 10:30 with a group, with everyone that's crossing now, basically, he said.
Y bueno, que lleva todo el día aquí. No sé ahora qué van a hacer.
Let me just see if I can make that out.
Que lleva todo el día aquí. No sé ahora qué van a hacer.
I think he says, no, we don't know what we're going to do, and we've been here all day. If I can remember, if I'm getting that right, I think.
Un grupo, como todo el mundo lo que está pasando ahora. Y bueno, que lleva todo el día aquí. No sé ahora qué van a hacer.
Yeah. It's not. So he said, we don't know what we're going to do, or what they're going to do. Anyways, that's my very imperfect Spanish translation.
He cruzado por la arena al principio desde Castillejo y luego he saltado una muralla que de la policía del Marruecos, el primero, y luego he entrado por la frontera nadando. Bueno, he nadado de 200 metros hacia en el mar.
Now he said we swam, and we swam 200 meters in the sea. I believe he said. I didn't get out. There's some words in there I don't know. He was talking about how they got there, the specific route they took. But I believe he said we swam 200 meters in the sea. Daisy said he had said, we've been here all day. I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah, it sounded like they're going to do, but maybe he was talking about the span. I don't know if he was talking about what people are going to do or what the authorities are going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, now 200 meters is not several miles. He said 200 meters, and that, I mean, that's like a less than a fifth of a mile. Anyway, so I'm not clear. Anyways, maybe if I go back, I can translate all the words. But let's keep watching the video for now. Did he say a boat initially? Hold on, let's go back. And there were just 2 or 3 words I didn't get, so they're probably important words. Let's go back. I can just look them up.
He cruzado por la arena al principio desde Castillejo.
He said we crossed por la Rena. I don't know what that word was. Rena? Maybe somebody in the chat knows what he said. There were 2 words, and he said by the something, and I don't know what word he was saying there either. So somebody, oh, is arena sand? That's interesting. Hold on. People are saying he said arena sand. Arena sand? Hold on. Sand is arena. Okay, he was saying, yes, he was saying sand. Okay. And then something that sounded sort of like a castle or something.
Arena al principio desde Castillejo.
At the start from Castillejo, I didn't get what that word it was. Is that maybe that's a location in Morocco. Maybe he's saying desde is from, but I think maybe he's talking about a location in Morocco. One of our viewers, AKH, says it's a town name. We can find this out pretty easily. Castillejo? Well, I'm trying to look for it on here. I feel like I read an article that mentioned that a town that was called that. In the north? Let's see. Up here? Anyways, I don't want to spend a million hours on this, but I believe he was talking about a town. Castillejos? Ruka says? Let's see if I look that up. Oh, there it is. Castille. Okay. Now they call it Fenedek. Is that a different name for the same place? Maybe it has two names. Yes. Fenedek is also known as the Spanish name Castillejos. So that's what he was saying. He said we crossed from the sand. We left from Castillejos. There's Ceuta up here. Okay, hold on. We're making progress. Thank you, chat, for the help.
Cruzado por la arena al principio desde Castillejo.
We crossed through the sand at the start from Castillejo, okay, which is the town in Morocco.
Y luego ya saltado una muralla.
And then we jumped, and he said una muralla, and I apologize. I don't remember or don't know what that means. I'm looking it up. Muralla? Let's see. Mura, M-U-R. I see. People are saying it's M-U-R. It is a wall, muralla. Thank you, Span. So he said muralla is wall. Thank you.
Una muralla de la policía del Marruecos, el primero.
Yes, he said of the Morocco, of the police of Morocco. Hold on.
Y luego ya saltado una muralla de la policía del Marruecos, el primero.
We jumped a wall of the Morocco police, sounded like he said.
De la policía del Marruecos, el primero. Y luego ya entrado por la frontera, nadando. Bueno,
Then he said we entered entrando, where we crossed the border. Nadando is swimming.
Nadado de 200 metros en el mar.
He said we swam about 200 meters in the sea, I believe he said. Okay. So that's what he said what they did. Yeah, now he's saying, right, he doesn't seem to be saying we, technically speaking, but he did say that he arrived with a group, and he pointed back and said the people who are coming in now. So I think when he says they, I'm guessing he's also referring to himself. That's my guess. I'm not sure, but it sounded like that.
Yeah.
That is it's Guardia Civil, which is civil guard. Trying to make out what it says on the back, but I believe that's. What does that say there? the last word. But they don't have. There's just not that many. There's not enough people. Somebody said, why don't they push them back? The security was overwhelmed today. They're bringing in armed forces. Spanish Civil Guard. That's a national law enforcement agency. There's the National Police and the Spanish Civil Guard. Now it says use USECIC. Which is, that's the Fast Response Tactical Unit, I guess. Unidad de Seguridad, USE, Ciudadana, Citizens de la Comandancia. Oh, Comandancia. Hold on. Well, I don't want to get into too much Spanish translation. So without getting into all of this, from my understanding, that is the, it's a tactical rapid response and operational unit, reserve unit in Spain's Civil Guard. Anyways, I would have to do some more reading about it, but at the moment I'd rather show you some more video. Let's keep going here. We can maybe talk about more of the specifics. Sorry, I am not an expert on all this stuff, as I'm sure you can tell. Now look at this. Again, these are just, as I understand it, these are just all people who just crossed the border today. And it was floods of people, lots and lots of crowds just walking in. I know that might seem strange to you. How can they all just be walking in? But there was so many people showing up today. Lines of people.
Es una vergüenza, la verdad. La única manera que veo yo es que España haga como Donald Trump y empiece a deportar. Y sobre todo, si tiene que poner la armada ahí en la frontera, para que no deje a nadie pasar. Porque, vamos, si en 2021 era una vergüenza, esto ya, vamos, ni te cuento. Por favor, Sánchez, haz algo, si no, dimite.
I got some of the words, but I didn't get the whole thing, but I'll play it again. I'm not going to go slowly here, but I'm sure one of our viewers can translate. I got some of what he said, but not an adequate translation.
Es una vergüenza, la verdad. La única manera que veo yo es que España...
Vergüenza, I think, is a shame, isn't it? If I'm getting the translation right of the word, or the actual reading of the word right. Hold on here. Or vergüenza? Vergüenza? I was thinking vergüenza. Anyways. Vergüenza is embarrassment or shame, but I don't know if he's saying that. Let's see.
Haga como Donald Trump y empieza a deportar. Es que España haga de manera que veo yo. Es una vergüenza, la verdad. La única manera que veo yo es que España haga como Donald Trump y empiece a deportar. Y sobre todo, si tiene que poner la armada ahí en la frontera, para que no deje a nadie pasar. Porque, vamos, si en 2021 era una vergüenza, esto ya, vamos, ni te cuento. Por favor, Sánchez, haz algo, si no, dimite.
So he's talking about Trump. He's talking about Sanchez, the president of Spain. He was talking about an armada and not letting people in. But I didn't get all the details. Let's see. I'm sure some of our Viewers, Joseph says he's complaining about his president, that he better do something and that he should learn like Donald Trump and start deporting. Right? You're saying so he is, when he says shame, he says he's like ashamed about his country. Is that what it is? Maybe he's a local resident in Ceuta, perhaps? Thanks for the help in the chat.
La única... Es una vergüenza, la verdad. La única manera que veo yo es que España haga como Donald Trump y empiece a deportar.
Yeah, I think he just said, do like Donald Trump and start to deport. I think he said that. He talked about it being shameful, and then he said, like, do like Donald Trump and start to deport.
Sobre todo, si tiene que poner la armada ahí en la frontera para que no...
Oh, I think he said, especially, he talked about putting an armada on the border.
No deje nadie pasar porque...
And don't allow anyone to pass. Don't allow anyone to come in.
Vamos, si en 2021 era una vergüenza, esto...
Oh, we talked about how in 2021 it was an embarrassment and a shame. There was an incident back in 2021 where I believe over a couple days, thousands of people came across the border, and I think he's referring to that.
Ya vamos, ni te cuento. Por favor, Sánchez, haz algo, si no dimite. Por favor, Sánchez, haz algo, si no dimite.
He says, please, Sanchez, something, or now Dimitir is stepped down, right? Or resign. Dimitir is resign. Or resign. Anyways, OG Ignacio says he's embarrassed that the president is allowing this to happen and says they should deploy the military. Anyways, yeah, I think that's a local person. Sorry for my not great translation, but I appreciate people helping out in the chat. Okay. Anyways. Spanish Civil Guard. Now, I don't know if those forces those are forces that just got there. Again, Spain is sending military to there to restore order. I think I might have the announcement here from Pedro Sanchez. Hold on, let me pull that up from the president. Here is the announcement from Pedro Sanchez, the president of Spain, today. This was 11 hours ago. This was this morning U.S. time, so it was afternoon Spain time. He said, the government of Spain is fully committed to providing an immediate response to the situation in Ceuta. We are mobilizing all necessary resources, working with Moroccan and international authorities, and preparing the necessary measures to restore normalcy as soon as possible. I just conveyed this to the president. I believe this is the president of Ceuta? Yes, right there. This is the moment to build solutions with responsibility and cooperation, he said. Then there's lots of comments on this. There's I thought I got it for you. I'll show you actually. But it's 29,000 likes and 45,000 comments. You can read the comments if you want. 45,000 comments. Hold on a second here. Oh, and let me show you something here. Oh, Spanish opposition leader posted too. I'll show you what the Spanish opposition leader posted. Hang on. I got to do a couple things here. Just give me a moment and we'll get into some of this other stuff. We got to give you like a basic summary of what's going on too, people, because I know people just joined the stream. So just hang tight for 1 sec. All right, let's take a moment and just get caught up on what we're talking about, because I know some people probably just joined the stream and haven't been here the whole time. We are talking about what happened today in Ceuta. So there is Spain, and this is the African continent, and there's Morocco. But there are a couple of places in Morocco that are next to Morocco at the top of North Africa that are actually parts of Spain. One is called Ceuta, which is right here. That's Ceuta. That's part of Spain, but you can see it's surrounded by Morocco in the south and water in the north. And then there's also, I keep forgetting, is it Heyima? I'm probably getting this wrong. I have to look it up again. It is, Melilla. I totally forgot. Melilla, which is over here. See, it says Melilla. Melilla is the other one. And that is also a Spanish, it's part of Spain, but it's in Africa, surrounded by Morocco. I believe those are the only two land crossings into the European Union from Africa. You can actually get to the EU from Africa on land. You got to go to one of those two places. So today, there was just this enormous mass migration of people from Morocco across the border into Ceuta, many of them swimming. The population of Ceuta is around 80,000, but some estimates said that there were tens of thousands of people, certainly thousands, but some estimates said tens of thousands that crossed the border today. In these videos we have seen, and we'll show you again in a little bit, of these enormous crowds of people swimming in the water, coming out of the water, going through gates, walking down the roads. So this was a huge political deal in Spain, and getting a lot of coverage around the world. So we're talking about it now. And we're going to give you some more of the details here. We'll show you some more videos to show you what some people are saying, some of the politicians are saying. And you can see here, Spain deploys military to Ceuta after thousands of people breach Morocco's border and at least 9 die. What is the reason they're doing this? Well, people are doing it. I mean, the people who are leaving, want a better life for themselves. That I think is the main reason, and they think they will get that going to the EU. But why it happened today, so many people, is unclear. So we're going to talk some more about this. Let me show you some of this. Jill Palatucci says it's not a migration, it's an infiltration. You can see a picture there from, this is from AP. I have a bigger version of this picture of a lot of people. There. That's people arriving in Ceuta. And even in that picture, just look at the crowds of people. You got all these people in the water. You got all these people on the shore who just got out of the water. Then you have people climbing up here, and all of these people have made it up here. And then there's other pictures and videos today of people once they get in and they're going down the road and everything, and enormous crowds of people. One of our viewers claimed Morocco opened up the prisons today. I haven't heard anything about that, but it certainly seems possible that Morocco maybe, for whatever reason, lowered the barriers on their side today. I'm not sure. Maybe that's a reason it could have happened. Let's see here. Give me a moment. Our viewer Segvik claims there are 40,000 and they are still coming today. That I don't know. It's unconfirmed numbers. I've seen some estimates say tens of thousands of people. Mostly Dolls Helicopter says that's a lot of people. Ty Boofer says, where are the females and the kids? So I don't know exactly why the demographics break out this way, but I will say, given that you had to swim a fair ways and it seemed like a strenuous activity, that might restrict who can do it. Certainly might restrict kids from doing it. I don't know. But I don't know their other, maybe people didn't want to send their kids. I don't know. I can't say. But that would be one reason. Now, one of our viewers thinks it would take logistics and planning. So how long was this something where all these people were talking about doing this and they knew on a certain day it was a chance to do it? It's a good question. I don't know. Let's talk about some of the details here. AP says Spain will deploy its military to restore order at its border with Morocco in Ceuta, after thousands of migrants streamed into the tiny Spanish territory, with at least 9 dying in the attempt today. The announcement came after local authorities in Ceuta had asked the central government in Madrid for reinforcements to manage a border crisis that boiled over Thursday with large crowds of people breaching the border fence. Spain's government said it would send the armed forces to help the civil guard maintain security in the city of Ceuta. It also announced that Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez will join the Interior Minister Fernando Grande Marlaska in a visit to Ceuta on Friday. The head of the association that represents Spain's civil guard officers who police the border in Ceuta told AP, the situation is absolute chaos. It's not possible to give precise numbers, but there are thousands of migrants crossing. He said the border today had totally collapsed. Akraf Maimouni, a member of the Moroccan Association for Human Rights in northern Morocco, described the situation as exceptional. He said the Tarajal border was opened under unusual circumstances this morning and people crossed. He said video footage showed crowds of people, mainly Moroccans, walking around the breakwaters at the Tarajal beach onto local roads. Maybe it's Tarajal beach. If it's in Ceuta, I think it'd be Tarajal beach, onto local roads. While most appeared to be young men, there were also families with women and small children. Viva España! Or Viva España? Some shouted to a freelance photographer working for the AP. It was not immediately clear. It was not immediately clear what prompted so many migrants to cross to Ceuta today. Spain's government delegation in Ceuta said at least 9 people died during the chaos. It did not provide details on the circumstances of the deaths, but bodies that's terrible. Bodies could be seen floating in the water. Dozens have died this year trying to reach Ceuta, according to local authorities. And just to show you here on the map, if I do the satellite view here on Google Maps, so you can see, this is Morocco up here. That's mainland Spain. Ceuta is part of Spain, but it's here. So there's Ceuta here. And I believe one of the people interviewed said that they swam from this city here, which in Morocco is called Fenidek, but it has a different name, a Spanish name, which I can't remember right now, but it begins with a C. So, I guess people went into the water here somewhere, and then they swim to Ceuta. Is that the border right there? It looks like maybe right here. Frontera. I don't know how it works when if you're in the water and if you're in the water but you're right next to the beach. Does that count as being in the country? Maybe it does. I'm not sure. But that's Ceuta right there. But you can see the border. That's the border. It looks like. Actually, is this the breakwater? Is this where people were right here? Excuse my ignorance, but in the pictures we're looking at, is that where people were just right? I mean, because that breakwater is at the border. So a bunch of people in the chat are saying yes. A bunch of people in the chat are saying that when in our video, which I'll show again, you see this long, piers type of thing of rock. And yeah, that is with a fence. And so it looks like people were just arriving here. And I don't know. We can look at it again. But I mean, it literally is. There is a breakwater right next to the border. Louis Lou says that's what they have to swim around during low tide. I don't know. I think people were arriving different parts of the day, but if that is where they were today, you can see it's right. I mean, it is the border is right there. So a number of our viewers are saying that's the place. Anyways, so right here, this is the AP photo. Right. Well, actually, that's not. Is that it right there? I think that's it. There's a bunch of. I think that's the general area. You see people in the water. So. Anyways, I'll show you the more video again. I don't want to get hung up on that. By the way, a couple things. I want to say I really appreciate our moderators. It says here, by the way, arrivals had been increasing, but reasons are still unclear. Let me just say a quick thanks to our moderators who are with us. We have moderating. Ruth is moderating right now on YouTube, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We also have moderating on Twitch, Bastion Girl, Big Ball of Yarn, Idaho Star, and Flux Eternus. Thank you. And Darren Charlo, Paul Anderson, Kay Lowry Body on Facebook. Thank you so much. And Linda Belk, Larry, Misha moderate for us on X. And also I want to shout out Rocket Ray 2 for subscribing on Twitch, and Rated R Roy for subscribing on Twitch. CC, again, thanks for your support on Twitch. And also I want to thank, before we get back to the details, Louis R gave 50 people memberships. 50. Wow. So generous of you, Louis R. Very, very kind of you. 50 of you got memberships from Louis R. Please thank Louis R. if you got memberships from Louis. Thanks so much for all of your very generous support of the channel, Louis R. Very nice of you. Tormented Tantalus and 86 both gave 50 memberships earlier. And Louis R. just did as well. Also, Shelley Amsterdam, thanks for your support, Shelley, from the EU. Jeff TE88, who says, a border is a border is a border. Jeff says 20 million entered the U.S. under President Otto Penn. Today's invasion is child's play. That's what Jeff says. Thank you, Jeff TE88, for your support. Thanks, Analogalian, who says that he says Spain is past amnesty. Now they're being invaded. Thanks also, Jeff TE88. Again, Miguel 57557. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Fireball, who says, breaking news, this has been going on in Europe and the United States for decades. Thanks, NJ Prepper, who says, who organized this many people? Look, I don't know how this all happened. I don't know if, did people know in advance they were going to go today? Did word get out like a day ago and people started talking amongst each other and saying, hey, everybody's going to do this tomorrow? That's a good question. I don't know. Also, Vintage Yamaha Squid, who thinks that many people don't just decide without help. Thank you, Creepy Crafts, who thinks they won't get out of that area. This is just a stunt. So look, that's another question. I don't know how this is going to be handled with the Spanish authorities. So, I do think it's important to point out because it can be confusing. They're not in mainland Europe right now, where they are. The people who crossed into Spain, Ceuta, Spain, they're still in Africa. They're across the water from mainland Spain and mainland Europe. So I don't know how this is going to be handled. From what I understand, in recent days, the numbers had been going up in immigration authorities that had already been overwhelmed. So I don't believe as of today, they had any capacity to rapidly process people. So I don't know how this is handled. Maybe some of the articles will talk about that. It's a good question. And and thanks so much to Louis R. That's very generous of you. Thanks for your donation, Louis R. Very kind of you. I really appreciate that. Also, Joanne 767. So how did they get food, clothing, and accommodation? That I don't know. One of the people interviewed said, they had gotten there today. We saw, and they had been there all day, and they seemed to not know what was going to happen next. So I don't know how this is going to work. Joanne says, how do they get food, clothing, and accommodation? Thanks, Campa Palau, for your support, for being a member for 23 months also. Jason D in California, thanks for being a member too. Okay, let's talk some more about this. So again, we're talking about the thousands, perhaps tens of thousands, who crossed the border from Morocco into Ceuta, Spain, which is in Africa, today. Arrivals had been increasing, but reasons are still unclear. The escalation at the frontier between Spain and Morocco comes after a surge in migrants attempting to reach the small enclave, mainly by swimming today. Mainly by swimming is how people came in. Moroccan authorities have not publicly commented on the crossings, and Morocco's Interior Ministry did not respond to requests for comment. Spain's Interior Ministry said the Moroccan government was closely cooperating with Spain to handle the situation and that the Moroccan police are stopping numerous people who are trying to cross the border. Both countries agreed to work together for the return as soon as possible of all the people who entered Ceuta illegally. The ministry of the Spain's Interior Ministry said it would guarantee the safety of citizens and the integrity of the nation's border, but that the Spanish government could not key destination threaten to suspend Italy's open to defend our borders and ensure the safety of our citizens, though Italy doesn't share a border with Spain. Let me just show you what she had to say. This is from Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy. She said, the images coming from Ceuta are striking and demonstrate once again that uncontrolled illegal immigration poses a concrete threat to the security of Europe's borders. So in something, the Schengen Agreement, by the way, I believe that means you can go to various countries. Once you're in certain countries, you can go to the others without issue. Yeah, so Wikipedia, Schengen area, Wikipedia says, is a system of open borders that encompasses 29 European countries. Here, I'll show you. Schengen area, a system of open borders that encompasses 29 European countries that have officially abolished border controls at their common borders. So once you're in one, you can go to the others without border controls. As I understand, I mean, I'm sure there's specifics here, but you can see what Wikipedia says. Let's see here. So I guess that, yeah. But I guess that would probably apply to everyone. I would think once you're in one of those countries, if you're coming in from outside, that's going to be you're going to get checked. But I don't know. I don't think I have ever gone from one European country to another. So I don't know how they do it. Do you have to show anything at the border or not? You know, Spirit of says it's like between states in the U.S. But it says they've abolished border controls at their common borders. That means there's no border control. That's what it says. I haven't done it though. So I don't know. I don't know how it works. One of our viewers, Jor, says that you have to carry ID in case you're checked. Anyways, yeah, Jor Mund Recker claims you don't show anything at the border, but you have to carry ID in case you will be checked. I might be able to find you a quick, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but this is from the European Commission, Schengen area, 29 countries. It says Schengen guarantees free movement to the more than 450 million EU citizens, along with non-EU nationals living in the EU or visiting the EU as tourists or exchange students or for business purposes. Anyone legally present in the EU has free movement in these 29 countries. But that's not saying that anyone. This applies to everyone. Look, EU citizens have the right to enter and exit the Schengen area through any of the Schengen countries to ensure the security of the external borders. They undergo a limited number of checks upon entry and exit. Nationals from third countries that require a visa to enter a Schengen area. Anyways, where does it say here? Cross-border police. I don't want to take too much time on this. That's not the point of the stream. But my point is, it's an interesting question, but I don't want to hijack the stream to talk about the specifics of Schengen. But the reason I was mentioning this is so Schengen, both Spain and Italy are in Schengen, although they don't share a common border, right? But I guess what she's talking about is that, well, if these people are in Spain now, in theory, maybe, now I don't know how they actually enforce it, but because of Schengen, maybe there's a concern that they could easily now end up in Italy. So she said, I have spoken with the Interior Minister. This is the Italian Prime Minister. I have spoken with the Interior Minister. Italy will not stand by and watch. We are convening the relevant bodies, and following these meetings, we are prepared to intervene with extraordinary measures to defend the borders and the safety of citizens, including the suspension of the Schengen area with Spain, she says. On illegal immigration, we will not yield an inch. Defending the borders, stopping human traffickers, and ensuring effective repatriations will continue to be the line of this government. One of the viewers said I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm sorry if I am. That does happen. It certainly happens here. Schengen. Schengen, it says here. It says right there in Wikipedia.
Schengen.
Schengen. Oh, not Schengen. It's Schengen.
Schengen.
Schengen. Well, there you go. I was pronouncing it really wrong. Anyways. I was pronouncing. I'm going to read a little more of that article, then we'll look at some of the video again, get you some of the other, take some more of your comments, and talk about what some of the other politicians said. AP says the chaos, Ceuta authorities had previously linked the surge today. So why did the surge happen today? Reason still unclear. Ceuta authorities had previously linked the surge to a Spanish Supreme Court ruling earlier this month that barred authorities from immediately returning migrants who arrive by sea without due process. The ruling does not apply to migrants who enter Spain by land, including by climbing over the border fence. So I guess there was a ruling by the Spanish Supreme Court that said if somebody comes to Ceuta or some other part of Spain, but including Ceuta, if they come by swimming, then they have to go through a certain process before you can send them back. Doesn't apply if they just come by land. But some activists in Morocco expressed doubt that the Supreme Court ruling was behind the surge, arguing most migrants would have been unaware of such legal decisions. Spain is a main point of arrival into Europe for migrants seeking better economic opportunities or an escape from violence in their home countries. So somebody had asked before, why are people going? There are reasons right there. Better economic opportunities or an escape from violence in their home countries. To reach Ceuta, located on the northern African coast, migrants often swim from the Moroccan town of Fenidek. And by the way, there's a Spanish name for that begins with C. And one of the people interviewed in one of the videos we saw today talked about coming from this town, said they came from this town. The Spanish name is Castillejos. Castillejos is the Spanish name. Now, this says migrants often swim from that town about 3.1 miles to reach Spanish territory. One of the people interviewed today said they swim about 200 meters. I don't know what to make of that. Others attempt the crossing from the nearby town of Bellunek, where the distance is shorter. The scenes of people streaming across the frontier recall the border crisis in Ceuta of May 2021, when more than 8,000 migrants poured into Ceuta in just 2 days. At that time, Morocco was accused of easing border controls and allowing migrants to cross into Ceuta after Spain allowed Polisario Front leader Brahim Ghali to receive treatment at a Spanish hospital, triggering a diplomatic crisis between Morocco and Madrid. The pro-independence Polisario Front for decades has claimed to be the legitimate representative of the Sahrawi people of the Western Sahara. Morocco claims Western Sahara as its own. The general point there is back in 2021, I think that was the last big crisis of, although it seems like today was potentially bigger, but the last major mass migration like this, 2021, I believe. And what happened then is there was this ongoing disagreement between Morocco and Spain, but not about the border. But as you can see, Morocco was accused back then of as a way to get back at Spain, I guess, or put pressure on Spain over this other issue of letting down border control on its own side and letting people cross. I don't know if something like that happened today. I have absolutely no idea. I mean, that would be one explanation for why, if so many people came, is if on the Morocco side they basically just let people go when they normally wouldn't. I don't know that happened. Real quick, just the end of the article here, it says, the head of Ceuta's regional government, Juan Jesus Bibas, called for the national government to declare an emergency on grounds of national security, asking for more police and for the army to be deployed on the border to guarantee the inviolability of the frontier and citizen safety. He had warned on yesterday, that migration centers. Now, again, I believe Wednesday is when they talked in this article here about Wednesday. Yes, the escalation at the border came after a surge yesterday of people started to come, mainly by swimming. And yesterday, the head of the Ceuta regional government had warned that migrant reception centers were overwhelmed with hundreds of people sleeping on the streets after more than 1,500 entered the territory in the past week. However, today, thousands more crossed overnight and on Thursday, but some estimates say tens of thousands. Spain's interior ministry would not confirm the number of migrants who had made it to Ceuta in the last few days and said it would publish its next immigration report on August 3rd. As of July 15th, nearly 3,000 migrants had entered Ceuta by land or sea this year. So before July 3rd, 15th this year, 3,000. Today, thousands, perhaps tens of thousands just today. Ceuta, which is perched on a historical isthmus, has been a Spanish possession since 1580. Its mixed population of Christians and Muslims, Spanish and Moroccan residents, and day workers lives in relative harmony behind a border fence that many desperate migrants from across Africa attempt to cross for a better life in Europe. All right, so we're going to show you more video of this. That's a little background, though. And so again, tomorrow is Sanchez the Prime Minister of Spain, I believe, not the president? Let me just make sure. Prime Minister. The Prime Minister and the Interior Minister of Spain will be going on Friday to Ceuta. SoCal Mermaid says, I wonder if the Spanish government knew this was coming or if it was a surprise to them. Charlie Rock says, Europe will be defended peacefully. Sarcasm BTC says, more tomorrow. So my thought, I have no idea. My thought on this is it's such a big political issue. I would be shocked. I can't imagine that if the Prime Minister himself is going there. I don't think the Prime Minister would be going there if they thought there was any chance there was going to be scenes like this tomorrow. My assumption is that he's going there because they are ascertaining, doing whatever they need to do to prevent stuff like this from happening tomorrow. Dorm Machine thinks they need to deploy the Navy if they want to stop the swimmers. One of the articles I read today said they were bringing in divers to patrol the waters. Let's talk about, so General Phantoms talked about Melilla. So I mentioned this earlier. Melilla is another, it's kind of a similar situation where it's in Africa, it's part of Spain, and it's next to Morocco. And let me try to get some updates from there. So we've been talking about Ceuta. Ceuta is here. There's Ceuta. Again, in North Africa, next to Morocco, across the water from Spain, but it's part of Spain. Melilla is over here. These are, again, I believe, the two land crossings into the EU in Africa. So tonight there have been some reports claiming that people in Melilla were trying to cross the border, a bunch of people. Let me see. I saw some stuff online about it. It can be very hard to ascertain what's exactly going on there. Let me see if I can find some updates. Oh, at least 8 El País, Spanish newspaper, says at least 18 migrants died during the mass migration today. That's according to El País. They say, according to them, at least 18 migrants died. Okay. Which is not good. All right, so that's an update from them. Oh, and also, what is this? So El País is reporting that the government closed the border with Melilla. Although I don't know if people are crossing tonight. I'm going to try to get you some of the Spanish government pronunciations and also show you what the local government was saying today there. Give me a moment. Hang on. Hang on a moment. Okay, here is, let me just show you what the Spanish government posted today. Quickly here. This is the Spanish government on X. La Moncloa. They say 5 hours ago. Oh, did they post about it? Let's see. Here. Ministry of the Interior. Press release, a statement about the situation in Ceuta. The Ministry of the Interior highlights Spain's exemplary cooperation with Morocco in all areas, including migration. The department, headed by Fernando Grande Marlaska, Interior Department, believes that human trafficking networks... the Spanish Interior Ministry believes that human trafficking networks are exploiting a court ruling to encourage the flow of undocumented migrants, mostly young people. The Interior Minister thanks the Moroccan authorities for the efforts made in recent days by their security forces, which have prevented thousands of attempts at irregular migration. Both countries have agreed to strengthen coordination and efforts to address these flows and have committed to reviewing and implementing measures for the handover as soon as possible of all the people who have entered Ceuta illegally. That statement was from today. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to talk about Melilla. So give me a second and let me talk about that. Because people were wondering about updates from there. Let's see what we're seeing here. Spain, the headline on Reuters is Migrants Pour into Spain, Ceuta from Morocco, Military Called In. Now, I don't have the rights to videos. There's a number of videos that claim to show scenes from Melilla. So Bill Melugin of Fox News had posted 4 hours ago. He said videos were emerging claiming that Moroccan migrants were now rushing the Spanish city of Melilla after Ceuta was overrun today. That I don't know about. So some people online have been posting videos and claiming like migrants are coming into Melilla. A lot of migrants are crossing the border into Melilla. I don't really have reliable information on that. There's an account which appears to be a radio station called Onda Cero Melilla, which seems to report on Melilla. I know nothing about them. They are a broadcaster in Spain, I believe. They appear to be a radio station in Melilla. So it's Spain, but it's located in Africa. And so it's called Onda Cero Melilla. And they have been posting tonight updates. And they say that hundreds of migrants entered Melilla tonight. crossed the border into Melilla. That's what they're claiming, hundreds. They said also some people attempted to jump over a fence at the border. And they claimed that border forces had to use rubber balls and gases to stop them from doing that. So Onda Cerro Melilla estimates around 400 people crossed the border into Melilla, Spain, from Morocco, which is interesting. I'll actually post a link to that. So this is an unconfirmed report from a Spanish radio station. That around 400 migrants crossed into Melilla, Spain tonight. Like Ceuta, Melilla is a Spanish enclave in North Africa that borders Morocco. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I think it's Melilla, isn't it? I probably was just saying it absolutely wrong. I think I was getting the L's in the wrong place. Yeah, it should be Melilla. If it's Mellilla. So I was saying Melilla, like as if it was Mellilla. So I totally apologize. I appear to have been just pronouncing that utterly wrong. I think it should be Melilla and not Melilla. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I looked at Wikipedia, it says the same thing. So that's my fault. It's Mellilla. So totally my fault. I'm just posting this. I'll post a link. I posted it on my X account at Lookner, and I'm going to post a link to that post from the Spanish radio station in Melilla about tonight. Okay, now let's. I want to show you this video again. It's a pretty striking video from today of what was going on there. In Ceuta. Let me take some comments too. Hey, by the way, a quick thank you to Dean R. Thanks for being a member. 30 months. Maybe at 36 months. Dean R, there's a new tie, I think, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe. Thank you, Dean R, for all your support. Really appreciate it. Tyler Guy, thanks for you for being a member for 21 months. Thanks so much, Tyler Guy 12. Thank you also, Himster, who calls this a horrific event. Thank you so much, Himster, for your support. Thank you, Anonymous K4Y2H, who says, I don't want to hear again from any European about how unsafe the states are with gun violence. Thanks a little bits for your support. Who thinks there is no immigration enforcement in the EU. Thank you, Fight to the End 70 for being a member. Thanks, Real ADVV, who I think is from Poland. Yeah, I'm not going to talk. We talked a bit about that last night. I posted about it. It appears that I don't really want to get into it right now. We talked last night about how there was talk that maybe a Russian drone or missile had entered Polish airspace. And again, this is not the topic of the broadcast. But NATO did say that a Russian missile landed in Poland today. Again, I don't really want to get caught up in this, but just in case you weren't aware, this is from Mark Rutte, the NATO Secretary General, discussed with Donald Tusk the violation of Poland's airspace by a Russian missile. Poland and NATO activated their air and ground defenses. This is while Russia was attacking Ukraine, and including Western Ukraine, which shares a border with Poland. We stand in solidarity with Poland and will continue to strengthen our readiness and defend against any threat, including missile attacks. The incident is yet another reckless act by Russia and a dangerous consequence of its war against Ukraine. I condemn last night's deadly strikes across Ukraine. NATO continues to provide essential support so Ukraine can defend itself. Our commitment is unwavering. Anyways, Real ADVV, perhaps in a future stream we'll cover that more. This stream we're going to stick with this topic, but I appreciate you mentioning it. Thank you. ADVV. I posted about it a couple times overnight on my X account, which is @Lookner. Thank you. Hey, Mo90X. Thank you, Mo90X, who I think is in Saudi Arabia. Thank you, Mo90X, for watching from there, for your support. And also the Nugget Doctrine, our member. Thank you to our member, the Nugget Doctrine. Fight to the End 70, our member. Thank you. Bond 007. Bond 007 claims Sanchez had said amnesty for 1 million immigrants. That I'm not sure about. I'm not familiar with all of his immigration policies in the past. But we're going to talk some more about the situation shortly. Thank you, Bond 007. I appreciate it. Also, David Costa Jax, thanks for your support. He said, I saw on TV Ceuta that Spain and Morocco have agreed that migrants will turn to Morocco. No details on how or when. Yeah, the official statement from the Spanish government claimed that they were working with Morocco to return everybody who illegally entered Spain back. But yeah, like you, I don't know how that whole process is going to play out. Okay, let's, for a moment here. Yeah, I want to show you the video again, because I know a bunch of people did not see that. And let me just really quick. Hang on a moment. Give me one moment. Okay, so we have been talking about this. Migrants pour into Spain's Ceuta from Morocco. Military called in. And we're going to show you some video in a second, but thousands of people crossed the border from Morocco into Ceuta, which is part of Spain today. Ceuta normally has a population, what is it, 85,000 or so? About 80,000, 85,000 from what I see online. And reportedly today, as many as tens of thousands of people crossed into Ceuta. There is Morocco in North Africa. There's Africa. There's there's Europe here, mainland Europe. But you can see here there's Morocco. There is Ceuta, which is part of Spain. But it's next to Morocco and crossed the water from mainland Spain. And the quote I saw from an official in the New York Times today claimed that tens of thousands of people had crossed. Let me see if it's still there. The quote. Yes. The New York Times said an official in the government of Ceuta, the Spanish government of Ceuta, Fernando Rodriguez Contreras, said that the working estimate of the number of people who had crossed the border into Ceuta today was in the tens of thousands. And didn't the AP article say that up to July 15th, the total number who had crossed this year before July 15th was 3,000. So let's look at a couple of videos here from Ceuta that I have. And if you were here with me at the beginning, you might have seen these before, but I think they're quite striking. So I want to show them again. And these are videos I purchased from Reuters to be able to show you. A lot of videos online too, but these I have the rights to. So this first one is going to be from, that's going to be the second one. Here is the first one. This is via Atlas, from Atlas via Reuters. This is earlier today. And let's play this for you. Trying to frame it the best way so you can see the most of it. Here, this is from earlier today. Migration Europe, Ceuta more. Most people entered by swimming. They swam and eventually they swam into the water of Spain.
Pinchado y hago el movimiento, ¿vale? Ya que hay mucha gente alrededor.
And by the way, you can see officers there. It's just they clearly don't have, that's Spanish Civil Guard, National Police Force, who do the border there, I guess, but they're just clearly not enough, right? They're not trying to force people to stay. They're not, I think they were, one of the articles I read said they were just focusing more on like safety, but they just were overwhelmed. I mean, that's a Spanish Civil Guard boat, but it looks like maybe they're just trying to like help people who can't swim or having trouble swimming or something. I mean, at this point, there's not a big active effort going on to hold people back, just because it doesn't look like they have the resources to.
Ya que hay mucha gente alrededor.
El segundo volvemos a ir. He intentado hablar con una de estas personas que estaban Vemos en estos momentos cómo se está llegando a gente, rescatando a gente que lo estaría pasando, que estarían pidiendo auxilio aquí en la zona, y detrás de esta tremenda imagen de todas estas personas bajando, saltando y tocando.
Look at back there. Look at the crowds of people. I'm going to go back for a second. He's talking about how they're seeing some people, I think, getting rescued. He said I think rescued, and also people, jumping into the water and lowering themselves into the water. He said we're seeing that now. So this, again, this is, you see this with the fence and the stone here. Some of our viewers were claiming that this is the breakwater on the border. So there is Morocco and there's Ceuta. And some of our, if you look here, you can see the border right there. I believe that's the border there. And some of our viewers are saying that it's literally this thing that's at the border, this breakwater, which is right on the border. Let me just real quick here. Yeah, so I would not be surprised if that's it. Let me go back to the video though. Sorry, just wanted to point that out.
Auxilio aquí en la zona, y detrás de esta tremenda imagen de todas estas personas bajando, saltando y tocando.
Now, I'm going to show you a different video. The rest of this video is mostly it shows a person who swam and doesn't seem to be doing very well, and other people are helping that person. So let me show you, there's a Reuters video I'm going to show you now, which has more of the scenes of people coming in. Yeah, I mean, these are enormous crowds of people, as you can see. Hang on. Here is this other video from today. Here. Oops. More video from the mass migration movement from Morocco into Ceuta, Spain today. Check it out. This one from Reuters. I mean, I'm going to stop this for a second. I'm just going to stop it for a second so you can look and see just the enormous crowds of people. And I believe at this point they're just in. I mean, this is just them. They're now in Ceuta. They're not like walking towards some border control place or something. They're just in Ceuta now, as I understand it. We listened to him before. I'll let it play, and then between the viewers and myself, viewers know Spanish better than I do. We figured out basically what he was saying.
Sí, he cruzado por la mañana a las 10:30 más o menos. Bueno, con un grupo, como todo el mundo lo que está pasando ahora.
He said he crossed around 10:30 with a group, with everyone who is crossing now.
Y bueno, que lleva todo el día aquí. No sé ahora qué van a hacer.
He talks about spending the whole day here. Says doesn't know what they're going to do. I don't know if he's saying he doesn't know what the authorities are going to do, but with my not great Spanish, that's the basic idea of what he's talking about.
He cruzado por la arena al principio desde Castillejo.
So he says there, again, thanks to the viewers for the help, that they crossed from the sand from that city of at the start. They started at the city Castillejo, which is a city where a lot of people cross from, which is next to. So there's Ceuta right there. It's this city right here. See, it says Fenidec. That's also known as Castillejo. So he says that they were in this city here. And if you look at the distance, I mean, there's that wall, I think. So we're talking about from there to there is about a mile. That's about a mile from here to here. I don't know exactly where they left from. But anyways, to continue.
Y luego he saltado una muralla de la policía del Marruecos, el primero.
He said we jumped over a wall. We jumped a wall of the Moroccan police. I don't know how that all happened, but he said the wall of the Moroccan where there was Moroccan police.
Y luego he entrado por la frontera nadando. Bueno,
Then he said we crossed the border swimming.
De 200 metros en el mar.
We swam about 200 meters in the sea, in the water. Again, people just walking around. Now, I think maybe some of these shots are the military. Spain said they were sending military there, so I don't know if they were there originally. Some of these shots eventually you'll see are at night, where you're seeing the military start to show up. Again, these crowds of people just coming in. Look at this. I think that guy was saying muchas gracias. Hold on. Is that what he was saying? Yes. I think that guy was saying, thanks very much, Spain. Muchas gracias. Sounds like he was saying España instead of España. Anyways, I think he was saying, thanks very much, Spain. That's what I think.
Es una vergüenza, la verdad.
And this person, we watched him before, and he appears to be a person who's Spanish, who lives there and lives in Spain, and he's embarrassed by this. He thinks it's shameful, and he thinks that the government should do like what Donald Trump does and get an armada out there and stop people from coming in. That's the basic idea of what he's talking about.
Es una vergüenza, la verdad. La única manera que veo yo es que España haga como Donald Trump y empiece a deportar. Y sobre todo Si tiene que poner la armada ahí en la frontera para que no deje nadie pasar, porque vamos, si en 2021 era una vergüenza, esto ya vamos, ni te cuento. Por favor, Sánchez, haz algo, si no dimite.
I don't know if that's a military ship right there. That I don't know, or a Coast Guard or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, and I think this maybe is military that's gotten there tonight. That's what it looks like, maybe. All right, so that was that video. I mean, really, really striking scenes of all of these people coming from Morocco. By the way, a thank you to Benny Perez. Thank you so much, Benny Perez, for your support. Let me take some comments for you guys. Oh, I'm going to show you what the local government was saying today. We didn't look at that. Like the Ceuta government, I want to show you what they were saying. The Ceuta government. Let's see here. Patricia Grace says, I could see no women and children. Apparently, most of the people were young men. There were some women and children, but most were young men, according to Associated Press. She says that makes no sense to me. So I don't know how this all worked out. I mean, again, there might be a worry about kids swimming, for example. Project Nexus says, it's interesting that Spain has that small part Ceuta, which is on the continent of Africa, but it is part of the country of Spain. Two of those. There's Ceuta, and then there's Melilla. Overlord Darius says, looks like Spain needs ice. The population of Ceuta normally is around 80,000. No 24 US says this is what happens when aid is cut. 26 TC thinks they are on the way to the UK. Thanks to our member Storm Dancer, thank you. Also, anonymous K4Y2H, who says crowds of unvetted men. Thank you, Gary 3329. Thanks, Gary. Gary, I can only use the videos I have the rights to. You cannot use videos you don't have the rights to. I can only use the ones I have the rights to. I can't just take everything off the internet and use it on my channel. But I really appreciate your support. Gary 3329. Thanks, Sprinkles DMCWLK, who says, all prisoners have arrived. Please report to Gate Hate. Thanks, Sasquatch Monster, Lunar Guardian, for being members. Lunar Guardian says this is dangerous for Spain. Gary says these are not migrants. Thanks, McLovin Wants Beer, for your support. McLovin Wants Beer says, we were in Melilla last year as a stop on a cruise. This is not surprising. The Spanish-Morocco border security is anything but secure, says McLovin Wants Beer. Thanks, Mr. Weskers, for your support. Let me just show you a little what Reuters says. Reuters says Spain on Thursday today deployed military units to reinforce police in the Spanish enclave of Ceuta in North Africa as migrants surged by sea and land from Morocco into the territory, and authorities sought to close off another Spanish enclave nearby. Now, state TV TVE reported that 2,000 to 3,000 people had crossed into Ceuta on Thursday. As I mentioned, a local government official, according to the New York Times, said tens of thousands of people had crossed. Definitely seems like it's thousands. I'm not sure the exact number. Reuters was not able to immediately confirm how many people crossed over. Video footage showed hundreds of migrants swimming. I mean, I think you can probably see 1,000 people in some of the video shots we've seen. Video footage showed hundreds of migrants swimming or floating on inner tubes from the Moroccan side and others breaking through a gate on land and running into the city. In Fredeck, which is also called, I think, Castillejo, if I'm remembering it, or Castillejos. Anyways, a Moroccan town just beyond the Ceuta border, Moroccan authorities aimed water cannons at migrants very late on Thursday in an attempt to deter them from crossing, witnesses told Reuters. Migrant Jadid Zakaria, his hair and shirt still wet from the ocean, told Reuters, it was very tough. The police tried to stop us, but our will and determination allowed us to come through. And during that interview, migrants were storming through a border gate nearby. Some of the migrants shouted, "Long live Spain," as they entered the territory. In Melilla, Spain's second autonomous city in northern Africa, footage from local media and human rights organizations appeared to show clashes at the Bani Ansar border point late Thursday. That has been the only open crossing between Morocco and Melilla for the last 6 years. According to Omar Naji of the Moroccan Association for Human Rights, at least 3 vehicles were set ablaze in Melilla, and injuries were reported among migrants and security forces. Morocco's Interior Ministry did not respond to requests for comment. Media is now reporting at least 18 dead. I believe, so El País, Spain, says at least 18 people died in this crossing today. Reuters says in recent months, at least 60 people have died attempting to cross into Ceuta. Okay, let's see here. It is a government said that 200 specialized police officers and 60 troops had arrived from the Spanish mainland to reinforce Ceuta's regular forces. It was unclear whether reinforcements were also being sent to Melilla. On a highway 90 miles south of Ceuta in Morocco, Reuters witnesses saw groups of young people walking north in hopes of reaching Spanish territory. That's 90 miles away from the border. The scene was reminiscent of 2021 when some 10,000 people from Morocco and sub-Saharan Africa, many of them minors, entered Ceuta, an enclave of about 85,000 people. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez will travel to Ceuta on Friday along with the Interior Minister for meetings with security forces and local authorities. Reuters also said many shops in Ceuta were shuttered on Thursday. Enrique Serrano, who runs a women's clothing store, said business owners were organizing self-defense because they believed police resources would be insufficient. Sorry, I have that. This is not the earlier today that was up there. That was for the video I was just showing. That's this video. I'm live right now, but the red earlier today was for the video I was showing a couple minutes ago. Let's see here. That store owner said, "I am not opening this afternoon because the situation is extremely tense. The first thing I have to do is protect my business and my family." He said hundreds of migrants had rushed through the border fence in a matter of minutes during the early hours on Thursday. Yeah, Ceuta and Melilla have the European Union's only land borders with Africa. Both cities periodically experience surges in attempting crossings by migrants seeking to reach Europe. It's very interesting. If you're in Africa, the only way to cross on land to the EU is to go to either one of these 2 cities that's next to Morocco, either Ceuta, which is right here. There's Ceuta. You can see in North Africa, and it's next to Morocco, and then also this down here. There's Melilla is right here. Melilla. So you can walk across into the EU from Africa in those 2 cities, but you have to go across the border. Okay. Local government seeks state of emergency. Spain's socialist government stands out in Europe for its pro-migrant stance, and it has recently launched a program to provide legal status for some 500,000 undocumented migrants, triggering an influx of applications double that number. Right-wing parties criticized the drive, arguing it would attract more migrants to Spain, and were quick to blame Sanchez for allowing the situation in Ceuta to reach crisis proportions. Oh, I'm going to show you what the conservative opposition People's Party leader Núñez Feijóo said on X. This is what Núñez Feijóo said, the opposition leader. Alberto Núñez Feijóo. This is translated here into English. He said, "The situation in Ceuta is desperate. The government cannot turn a blind eye to its responsibilities because we are facing a national security crisis. All support to the local head of government in Ceuta, the autonomous city which unanimously and quite rightly demands that emergency be recognized and that control of our borders be regained immediately." Then the Popular Party, is that what it's called? The Popular Party? That's opposition party in Spain. People's Party. The People's Party. Wikipedia says it's a conservative and Christian democratic party in Spain. It is one of the two dominant forces in modern Spanish politics. So they put out a statement today, and I don't know that I'm going to read the whole thing, but what I'll do is show you the translation of their statement. If I can pull that up here for you. Here is the, hang on. Here it is. Pulling it up for you right now. Where is this thing? Okay. Translated by Google Translate. This is the opposition party statement, People's Party in Spain. They say Ceuta is suffering an unprecedented avalanche. It began on Monday and continues to worsen. The government's version of a swift solution is being contradicted by reality. They claim, the opposition, that tens of thousands of people continue to arrive. All of Europe is watching. The whole world is watching. They say, the People's Party in Spain, the opposition, that the number, it's estimated the number could exceed 40,000 people. That is half the population of Ceuta. Impossible to manage without extraordinary measures. The entire Ceuta political class, regardless of ideology, is calling for this, and the government cannot turn a deaf ear because we are talking about national security. And they talk about, they want to declare, I think this means a state of emergency for national security. Effective control of the border must be regained. The return of those who entered illegally must be guaranteed, and security and coexistence must be preserved in these crucial hours. The deployment of resources must be massive. Spain has the means to do this, and what is lacking is not capacity but will. Spain's borders must be respected. A late and insufficient reaction, says the opposition party, will only continue to fuel the idea that Spain is a country where one can enter by any means. That is why this must be stopped now. And the country must behave with the leadership expected of a member of the European Union. We must be aware that this city is closing its businesses out of fear and is facing the coming hours with enormous anxiety. It is essential that the people of Ceuta know that the rest of Spain is with them, and this requires a much firmer and more forceful presence and response than what we are currently seeing. And at the end, he says, we must not ignore this critical situation reflects an image of decline that Spain does not deserve, he says. Or the opposition party says, just to show you here, this is the opposition party leader who's saying this. We cannot resign ourselves to irresponsible decisions such as the immigration policy leading to crises of this magnitude, nor can we accept that in every emergency, Spaniards perceive a disorganized state willing to react to reality and only accumulating empty phrases. Spain needs a government that leads and serves our country and all Spaniards, a government that defends national sovereignty. That's the opposition party, People's Party statement. I was going to show you, just a little more background here. Then I'll take some comments here. Earlier this month, Spain's Supreme Court ruled that migrants intercepted at sea while attempting to reach Ceuta or Melilla cannot be summarily just quickly returned under the enclave special border rejections regime, which allows authorities to immediately send back people caught crossing the border fences on land. Spain's government claimed that it was the exploitation by mafias and criminal organizations of this ruling that had triggered the migrant surge, not the Spanish government's bid to give legal status to some undocumented migrants. A spokesman for the Spanish Civil Guard said, "It's been a slow trickle since the Supreme Court's ruling, but today has been an explosion." I'm going to show you what the local government said too. Let me take some more comments though. Diane Allworth says, "I can't imagine 40,000 people suddenly in my city and mostly men." Again, that is not confirmed, that number. It's a little confusing. Some reports say thousands. Some reports say tens of thousands. Steve the Evil Bunny says, "If this happens on the same scale again over the next few days, there will be nothing Spain can do about it." As I said, just as a matter of politics, I can't imagine that Spain is not going to ensure or do anything it can to ensure this won't happen again the next few days. Just for the politics of it. Dorm Machine says they voted for it, they deserve it. Dejo Boo says if Sanchez and his party knows they're on the way out, it could be a last-ditch effort to bring in fresh workers before handing over the reins. Dejo Boo, you think it's an inside job? That's what Dejo Boo seems to think, possibly. By the Sea says, "I'm concerned about what the problem was that made these people leave as well." Fran Dos Cuatro Dos says, "You'll probably hear a flood of misinformation from the Spanish far right and its media outlets over the next few hours. Be very careful about your sources." Yeah, so I've repeatedly said I don't know why this happened today. I've read you articles that say it's not clear why it happened. And I don't even know how many people it was. I mean, it clearly happened. But I've read you some comments from the government and also some comments from the opposition party. But yeah, it's obviously this event is going to be played up politically, like a similar event would be played up in the United States politically. So I certainly think it's good advice to be careful about sources and try to look at some different sources and, know that it's not easy to exactly know what's going on. Yeah, as Jor Moonwrecker said, one of the articles talked about this. It started a few days ago in smaller numbers. Dr. McRib thinks the far right will capitalize on this. As I mentioned, it seems like there's got to be some reason that it just exploded today with the numbers. Several articles I've seen said they don't know. Just to mention again, back in 2021, I showed you an article that talked about how in 2021 there was this disagreement, this ongoing disagreement thing, not about migration, with Morocco and Spain. And then in 2021, there was this huge influx over a couple days. It's kind of similar, of thousands of migrants who crossed the border, and some accused the Moroccan authorities of basically stopping the border patrol on their own side and letting people cross as a way to put pressure on Spain over this other thing. So I just mentioned that to say, like, maybe, so one thing I don't know about is, was there some sort of lessening of control on the Moroccan side today? It's a good question. I just don't know the answer. Bear with me for a second here. Let me check a couple things. Seychas thinks the answer is no. I do not know. Collected Chaos says, is America opening a renewed offensive on Iran? I'm not aware of that. I mean, last night the U.S. attacked Iran for the first time since Friday, but that was in retaliation for Iran firing missiles. So I'm not aware of a new offensive that's been declared. I'm not aware of new U.S. attacks today, but I'll certainly keep an eye on it. Hang on, I'm checking some of the... Our viewer, Akraf Jalal, thanks Akraf for writing in, says, the news is saying it's migrants trying to get into Spain, but they're leaving out that this is Africa. Yeah, I think it can be confusing if you just sort of see the headlines, and there's some posts about this which don't really talk about this, but I think it's easy to look at a headline about this and think that they're actually going into mainland Spain. So again, it's a Spanish city that's next to Morocco in Africa, but it's part of Spain. Oops, hold on. Somehow that set off my phone. CSM wrote to me, who I think is from Spain, and said, thanks to our traitor president, the gates are open. CSM said, we're a joke. Hang on a moment here. Let me show you what the local government was saying about this today. Like I said, I was going to show this to you. The government of Ceuta. We are bringing you a live update on the situation in Spain. And, well, in Spain, the part of Spain in Morocco. It's part of Spain next to Morocco in northern Africa, I should say, where Spain has deployed its military after thousands of people flooded across the border, many of them swimming today, from Morocco to the city of Ceuta, which is a Spanish city, but it's in part of Spain, but it's in North Africa, has a border with Morocco. And we have been showing you some of the video from today, which I'll put up again as I thank some people. This is the Reuters video. I want to shout out a couple people, and we are going to show you what local government said. But while I do that, here it is. Turn it down a little bit. Hey, I really appreciate, as you look at some of the video, some of the striking video from today, there. Gary3329. Carrie says the country who invaded so many continents will fall to just one. That's what Gary said. Thank you, Gary. Thanks to Anonymous K4. Anonymous says Spain doesn't look like or feel like Spain anymore, along with the UK. Thanks also to Always Chasing the Rain, our member, Always Chasing the Rain. Thanks for the gift membership, Always Chasing the Rain. Thanks, Storm Dancer, our member. Shout out to our moderators. We listened to this before, so I'm going to turn it down. We listened to it a couple times before. But let me shout out our moderators. We have Ruth. We translated what the speakers said, too. Thanks, Ruth, for moderating over there on YouTube. Give me a moment here. I'm just going to check a couple things. Pause this for a second. Thanks so much to our Twitch mods. Bashing Girl, De Bears, Idaho Star, Flux Eternus, thank you. Also, Cece, thanks for your support on Twitch. Cece says, it all seems odd. I hope we will see how this is handled tomorrow. Also, our Facebook moderators, Kay Lowry Body, Michael Fergal, Darren Charlo. Thanks, Paul Anderson, for modding. Sharon Klassen Gosselin, thanks for subscribing, along with Diane Allworth and Dolly Clark, thanks for subscribing. And also Linda Belk, Larry, Misha over there on X. So I'll finish showing some of the video for those who haven't seen it. Then I'll show you what the local government said. So we talked about him before. He was describing how they left from a town nearby in Morocco. They jumped a fence and they swam about 200 yards, they said, and they just got there. And here's some of this video from today of these crowds of people now in Ceuta. More crowds of people entering. Again, crowds of people now in Ceuta coming from Morocco. And coming for a lot, I mean, this is now, it's getting dark. When it was getting dark there, they were still coming in. There's video of them. There's video of crowds coming in during the day. We talked about this person. This person, again, appears to be someone who's from maybe he's from Spain. He's from Spain or lives in Spain and is ashamed about what happened and says that Spain should really, the government should firm up their borders and not let people come in. He is upset with what happened. We listened to him before. And just to show it, I'm not going to play the whole video again, but just to show you, give an idea, this other video, the chaos. This is the one from Atlas via Reuters.
Pinchado y hago el movimiento, ¿vale?
I mean, look at this.
Ya que hay mucha gente alrededor.
Look at these crowds of people. And then I mean, what's that guy going to do? You know, there's a guard there, but can't really do much at this point. Really striking, this video.
Vemos en estos momentos cómo se está llegando a gente, rescatando a gente que lo estaría pasando, que estarían pidiendo auxilio aquí en la zona, y detrás de esta tremenda imagen de todas estas personas bajando, saltando y tocando.
Look at the background. I know I've said this before, but look at how many people are back here. Look at all the people. Now, this is the government right there. This is the government of Ceuta. I'm going to show you what they had to say. Our viewer Banana Bananu says, that's crazy. Really quick, hey, thanks, by the way, to our subscribers over there on Twitch. I want to say a quick thanks to them. They support the channel. We have Douthis, Devil Doc, Great Cornholio, Digital Communist, Recovering Rump Addict, Denral Phantoms, Gaming Dad Bod. Oh, Gaming Dad Bod is a viewer, but thank you, Gaming Dad Bod, for watching and chatting. Flug Fiscatrol Carlin. Thanks for subscribing. Also, Hugh J, Slippy 313, Iconic Song, General Phantoms, Flux Eternus. Thank you to all of our subscribers over there. And our YouTube members as well, just to name a few. Sydney91, Mine CA, That Tree Line, Bond007, White Buffalo, MZFAF03, Storm Dancer, Thomas J. Doyle Burke, Patricia Grace, Pioneer Patriot, Michelle Bailey, Phoenix 2B, Blues 342, Beam Me Up, Jacob Bacon, Allison Fowler, thanks for being members. By the Sea, Mo 90X, PB Hakata, Deborah Hodes, Seize the Days, Jerry Kovacs, Richard Maberly, Mike A, Marisol Del Valle, Evelyn in Maine, Lorem Ipsum, Trent F. Drums, and all of our other members on YouTube. Thank you. Bearded Texan. All right, now, finally, I keep saying I'll show this to you. Here is, finally, this is the government of Ceuta. It's the government of Ceuta page. Look. Oh, you know what I need to do? Hold on. There's something I need to do. See if this works. That's better. Hang on a second here. Did that work over here? No. I need to do it here too. Give me a second. Just give me 1 second here. Color was messed up. Color was messed up. All right. So the government's been posting about this today. The government of Ceuta. And want to show you some of these posts. Towards the start of the day. Started posting about it earlier in the day. Let's see. Where did they start? So this is the mayor. This is a post earlier today. The mayor has defined the migration crisis as extremely serious and complex. In the last 10 days, more than 1,500 migrants have arrived by sea. I think this might have been before things really got going today. They were already talking about this new crisis about the last 10 days when 1,500 arrived. Well, total by sea. They said that the reception centers are collapsed and saturated. About 200 people are coming to the city daily, talked about overcrowding. But that was before what ended up happening today. They said if the current flow of entries is maintained, we will experience a very similar episode to that of May 2021. But again, that was already going on. And let me see when they start actually posting about the stuff today. Let's see. This is his appearance today. Is this, let me see here, hold on. Mayor of the city. Fine. Here, this is the city government right here. The junta, I think this is basically like the city parliament kind of thing. The Junta de Portavoces. Why is it not translating? I can translate it myself, but oh, there we go. Unanimous agreement of the board of spokespersons for the city. The board of spokespersons for the city, this was posted, today, in an extraordinary and urgent meeting, having considered the qualitative leap that has occurred in the persistent massive entry of migrants into our city, aggravated in recent hours by the entry on foot, bypassing the Tarajal breakwater, and in an equally massive number, considers it urgent and indispensable that the government of the nation, Spain, adopt the following measures: the declaration of a national emergency under the provisions of the regulations of national security, the reinforcement of the state security forces and corps, and the deployment of the army to guarantee the inviolability of the border and citizen security, the closure of the border. At the same time, we want to convey serenity and calm to all citizens. This is not the first time Ceuta has faced a critical situation like the current one, but as in previous instances, the people of Ceuta will once again demonstrate and are demonstrating an example of maturity, solidarity, and resilience. Together and united, we will overcome this, they say. The local government there. And you can see here, then they posted, the mayor of the city, Juan Vivas, has once again convened the spokesperson's board to convey to representatives of all political groups the content of the conversation held with Pedro Sanchez, the Prime Minister of Spain, who has clearly and bluntly exposed the gravity and of the situation the city is facing, as well as the agreement unanimously adopted. So they're saying the mayor told this to the Prime Minister. As well as the agreement unanimously adopted by the spokesperson's board to request an extraordinary response from the state in the face of the magnitude of the emergency today. According to what he explained, the Prime Minister told the mayor that the executive is already working on this matter, that the Minister of the Interior will travel to Ceuta tomorrow. This was before it was announced the Prime Minister is also going tomorrow to continue on the ground the evolution of events and coordinate the necessary actions. Okay, just skipping forward here. Okay, and then this is the last post today from the city government. At this hour, the Portavoces board, which represents all groups of the assembly and the city government, continues to meet to continue evaluating the extremely serious migration crisis that our city is going through, an unprecedented situation that is putting our institutional response capacity to the test and generating extraordinary concern among the entire population of Ceuta. The entry of thousands of people Again, some reports say tens of thousands. Through the Tarajal border in the last few days. And especially intensely in the last few hours, has caused unprecedented pressure, putting our territorial integrity and sovereignty at risk and posing a huge challenge to the very stability of Ceuta. Despite the gravity of the moment, we want to convey to the people of Ceuta a message of calm, serenity, and confidence. Ceuta has demonstrated on numerous occasions its ability to face extraordinary situations and once again will know how to rise to the circumstances. With unity, responsibility, and determination, we will overcome this difficult situation. However, the board wants to condemn the passive attitude of the government of the nation, of the Spanish government, and considers it essential that the executive acts with the urgency, firmness, and dimension that a crisis of this magnitude demands. The response offered so far, they said, is clearly insufficient, so a firmer commitment and immediate action are necessary, which we have not seen so far. They posted that message at, when was it? 2:16 p.m. Eastern time, which would be 8:16 p.m. local time, I believe that was. I think that's the last one they have posted. So, serious crisis there. Lara for Trump thinks they will need to build holding camps. Carolina Ortega says, seems like instructions are clear and they know what to do. Michael Sterling says, fight back, Ceuta. Our viewer, Mr. Wild Bill, says, right now, food is the number one issue. They will riot to get food. The New York Times pointed out how the border, this border in Africa between Spain, the Spain cities, Ceuta in Africa, and I think they're talking about the other one as well, Melilla. They're saying that the border in Africa with Morocco and Spain, in the Spanish cities in Africa, has been a major source of domestic political tension for Prime Minister Sanchez. They say that anti-immigrants accuse him of being not strong enough on border control, whereas pro-immigrant advocates in Spain criticize the government for being too harsh with their immigration enforcement. Give me a moment here. ND Coop says they should have food ready for those people. Brand Knee Block says secure borders is a no-brainer. It just seems like they were just not prepared for this amount of people. Like they just did not have the response in place to handle this amount of people. So the question becomes, how did it end up happening that so many people came in at once and that this was something like that they just were not expecting? Oh, I think I might have an update for you. Hold on a moment here. Give me a moment. Or maybe I don't. Let's see. Yeah, AP, as AP mentions, those two cities in Africa that belong to Spain, Ceuta and Melilla, they share the EU's only land borders with Africa. Ceuta's been a Spanish possession since 1580. The Wall Street Journal headline on this was "Thousands of migrants pour across border into a tiny Spanish territory." The Wall Street Journal also points out that Spain's center-left government is not as anti-immigration as a lot of European governments are. They also said that earlier this year, Spain introduced a plan, the government, that would give legal residency to hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants. The government said that since those immigrants were already in Spain, they might as well pay taxes. Those rules applied to migrants with no criminal record and who had already lived in Spain for at least 5 months when the policy was announced. Oh, Elon Musk said it was an invasion, I guess, on X today. Elon Musk posted 4 hours ago and said all military-age males means it's an invasion. That's what Elon Musk said. I would be interested to know exactly how many people crossed today. It's unclear. The Department of Homeland Security posted about this today. The Trump administration Department of Homeland Security. They said, this is what they said. If Spain had their own President Trump, this wouldn't be an issue. Citizens of Spain should take that into consideration. Spark 13 Motion said we really needed their input. Frank Smith says Morocco doesn't recognize the Treaty of Lisbon of 1668. Why doesn't Spain give Morocco Ceuta? I don't know much about the background of it. I can give you a little more here. So I can tell you that in a BBC article about the incident in 2021, I believe, when thousands of migrants crossed into Ceuta from Morocco, they said, if I have this right, that Spain, like most other countries, has never recognized Morocco's claim to the territory. They give a whole, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but they talk about Ceuta came under Spanish rule in the 16th century. And then Melilla was conquered by Spain in the 15th century. Ceuta came under Spanish rule in the 17th century, in the 1600s. Melilla was conquered by Spain in the 1400s. And then in 1956, Morocco became independent, but Spain kept Ceuta and Melilla. I'm not really familiar with this whole background of Ceuta. So I'm not going to have a lot intelligent to say about it. You can go to, for example, go to Wikipedia. I'm sure they have history about it. For much of the Middle Ages, regional powers north and south of the Strait of Gibraltar vied for control over Ceuta, which was a key contested port in the so-called Battle of the Strait. In 1415, it was annexed to the Kingdom of Portugal, and subsequently, after 1580, to the Hispanic monarchy, with the city choosing to stay in the latter after 1640. It was a regular municipality belonging to the Spanish province of Cadiz prior to the passing of its Statute of Autonomy in March 1995, as provided by the Spanish Constitution, henceforth becoming an autonomous city. Following the decolonization of Africa, Ceuta and the Spanish city of Melilla became the only European-held territories left in mainland Africa. Interesting. But I am not familiar with the whole dispute. Thank you to Frank Smith for writing in and talking about it. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. It's a 6-hour time difference. I don't know that we'll be on the... I mean, look, I don't think it's going to happen. If there somehow was like a huge influx of people tomorrow, I would cover it. But I have a feeling with the prime minister going there that that's not going to happen. I don't know that I'll be on the air just for the prime minister's visit, although you never know. It'll probably, the timing will be weird. It's a 6-hour time difference. Cravon says, we believe in conquest here. Hang on, some people are sending me some stuff too. Yeah, there's some other videos out, some pretty striking videos around. Viewer Cato Publius just sent me one of a lot of people like walking on the beach, big crowds of people, huge crowds of people. And again, I can only show the stuff I have the rights to, so I can't just show everything. But there's a lot of video floating around beside what we showed today. I know a bunch of you have seen other things too. But hopefully what we showed you gave you an idea of what was going on. Jeff Gwaltney writes in and says, the migrants will delete us all. The Great Purge, World Civil War I. That's what Jeff Gwaltney said. Let me check one other thing here. Oh. But look, a bunch of our viewers have said questions like, well, where are these thousands of people going to stay? What are they going to eat? What is happening to them there? It's a great question. I don't have a good answer for you. I don't have that information. Now, I will say this. Hold on. I saw this. Um, RTVE Spain reports that the entry of people into Ceuta through the Tarajal border continues overnight. That's from RTVE Spain. Yeah, so, and I think Tarajal is just to clarify, um, there is Ceuta and there's Morocco there and there's Ceuta. And this says the highway of Tarajal right here. And there's Avenue Tarajal. So it does appear, I believe we saw the Tarajal breakwater, I guess is this. And again, as some of our viewers were saying that this is where you saw the videos of people, crowds in the water and climbing up the rocks. That's right on the border, that breakwater there. So people were swimming over, and or I guess maybe some of them were going through the fence, but a lot of them just swam around and were coming in here. But that's the Tarajal, because you can see it says Tarajal here, Tarajal there. So what RTVE is reporting, they say the entry of people into Ceuta through the Tarajal border continues overnight. Now, also, there's been a couple reports saying that in Morocco, RTVE reported what another report said tonight, later in the evening, Moroccan forces started using things like riot gear and tear gas and water cannons to disperse the crowds on the Moroccan side, which I guess they hadn't done during the day. I have a couple updates from just a couple late updates. You can go to RTVE and get some updates from them. RTVE reported about an hour ago that the Fenidec Center is taken over by young people who have tried to cross into Ceuta. So I guess what's happening is, according to RTVE, what's happened is that a lot of people from Morocco, young people, have gone to the city nearby Ceuta, because they want to cross now too. So people are flooding into that city. Has gotten super crowded with young people. We're talking about this city right here. That's Melilla right there. Melilla. We're talking about there's mainland Spain, there's Morocco, and here is Ceuta here. There's Ceuta, and there's Fenidec, which I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. So, but that's the city just south of Ceuta, but that's in Morocco. So RTVE says that this night it's extremely crowded in the city, or parts of the city, because lots of people have gone to that city in Morocco because they're going to try to get into Ceuta. And that's a report from just about an hour and a half ago. RTVE says that, what were they saying? They said a lot of young people rushed to buy things that float so they could go into the water and try to get in there. They say the city is gridlocked. And the police claimed in Morocco that they were trying to clear that out tonight. Yes, and they are reporting that Morocco has reinforced the security on their side of the border. And Moroccan police were reportedly trying to disperse the crowd on their side with water cannons. Jim from Blacksburg says round 2 go. Yeah, it does sound like, from what I can gather, the Moroccan authorities, for whatever reason, were not that strongly clamping down on their side of the border. And now they're doing that. That's what it sounds like. Vader says they are just poor young people, adults. They are adults, not children. Yeah, most of them looked like, well, in the videos we saw, a lot of them looked like younger adults. Reportedly, there were some women and children too, but. Quick thanks, by the way, to, I really appreciated our viewer from, oh, hold on a second. Viajando Ando. Now, Viajando says they live in Spain. Viajando says Morocco government send these waves to ask for money, a ransom kind of strategy. Once the Spanish government pays, the majority will go back to their country. So something we did talk about before is this idea that it could be, without repeating the whole thing again, that there were claims that in 2021 something like this happened because there was a dispute between Morocco and Spain on a different issue. And there was an allegation that Morocco basically let migrants come in to put pressure on Spain over another issue. I don't know if something like that happened this time. But that is obviously something I think is not really being talked about that much, which I think could be a big issue here, is what happened on the Moroccan side today. I forget where I read that earlier about the. I think there were a couple articles that mentioned the 2021 thing. Anyway, let's see here. But thank you. So yeah, certainly a big part of the story very well might be some sort of dispute between Morocco and Spain governments. Is part of this Morocco trying to put pressure on Spain in some way? Beats me. So it's an interesting thought from Viajando. Thank you. Also, thanks to Shelley Amsterdam, who says, well, there was a report from the government that said recently it had been up to 200 a day. It seems like a lot more than that today, certainly. 200 a day was considered a lot. Thanks, Seize the Day. Seize the Day says, who can't be alarmed by it being all male? Thank you to I Am Charlie for your support. Thanks, I Am Charlie. Thanks to Mochi Bird. Thank you, Mochi Bird. All right. So I don't know that I have much more to give you on this than we've discussed. I'm interested in seeing, well, what happens, but also what comes out about how many people actually crossed in today, and if there's more reporting on what led to all this today, specifically today. By the way, thanks to El Charo. El Charo says, seems like an organized smuggling operation due to Ceuta being a fairly entry port to the European Union since Ceuta is Spanish. El Charo thinks it's like an organized smuggling operation. Thank you, El Charo. Thank you, Mantel Elson on Twitch for subscribing. Thanks the Zazva for subscribing on Twitch. One of our viewers thinks there's going to be much more. Yeah, certainly I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. Who said going to be much more? Rooch B1 thinks there'll be much more. I also don't know. I mean, look, I'm not an expert on Spanish politics. I don't know. Certainly seems like it could be a significant event it seems like there's like a big deal is being made about it among Spanish politicians. I don't know if it'll have lasting effects on Spanish politics, but seems like a pretty big deal there, as you could imagine. All right. But I think we're going to start maybe wrapping it up on this end. And of course, keeping an eye on other stories as well. And so if there's big news, we will be doing more streams, clearly. Oh, Tony Del Monte, our viewer, mentioned this to me. One of our viewers just mentioned this. So there's this story out about Iran in Minnesota and a cyber attack I'm seeing. So, for example, the New York Times says that U.S. sees Iran as likely behind cyber attack on Minnesota water systems. There were no indications any water supply had been rendered unsafe to drink. A cyber attack this week on dozens of water systems in Minnesota. Interesting. That just came out. Well, I'm seeing that now. I guess it was out earlier today. I hadn't seen it. But officials say that this is a preliminary assessment and they had not definitively determined it, who was responsible. Have to keep an eye on that. I'm just seeing that for the first time. Oh, hold on. Oh, I have it right here. There's a warning from CISA today, Cyber Defense Agency. Well, I don't know if this is about Iran, but it says CISA urges water and wastewater systems sector to protect OT against activity targeting PLCs. CISA is currently observing a significant increase in cyber threat actors targeting programmable logic controllers in the waste and wastewater systems sector. CISA urges critical infrastructure owners, operators, and integrators to remove publicly exposed PLCs and other operational technology from the internet as soon as possible. These threat actors are targeting water entities of all sizes. I don't know that they mention Iran in this announcement. Doesn't look like it. Not this one. A lot of acronyms there, as Limey said. Anyways, the New York Times is saying that a well and a treatment plant in at least one city was temporarily offline on Monday. Other cities in the state had to cope with attempted attacks on automated operations by using manual workarounds. Wow. So this is the New York Times reporting this. I'm going to post something about this. Again, it's funny. I saw some people. I get this story, I think, was out in the New York Times this morning, and I just hadn't seen it. And I saw, some other outlets reporting on it. A local Minnesota outlet was reporting on about 10 hours ago, and I just hadn't seen it today. So I appreciate the viewers bringing it to my attention. I'm gonna post something about it. I don't know if I'll post it now or when we get off the air. You know, maybe right now I'll post something about it real quick. I'll post it with the link to the New York Times article so you can read the article. How's that? All right, so the New York Times says, investigators believe a cyber attack on dozens of municipal water systems in Minnesota this week was probably the work of Iranian hackers. But they say they have not definitively determined who was responsible for the attack. And a well in treatment plant in at least one city was offline on Monday. Okay, I'm going to post this now. You can go to my X account and get the link there. Here is the... Here. Oh, also, the Times said the hackers targeted infrastructure used to remotely manage and monitor water towers maintained by municipal governments. And the city said hackers targeted roughly 36 municipal water systems in the state. Interesting. Anyways, thanks to the viewers for mentioning that. I had not heard that story today, so I appreciate you guys mentioning that. Heard it from you guys. And Tony Del Monte as well. Tony told me. Tony lives in Minnesota. I wonder if President Trump will comment on that. By the way, thanks to Viajando Ando, who says the 2021 issue between Morocco and Spain was the Sahara separatist leader that needed a cancer treatment and was brought to Spain. This time, Spanish officials had a meeting with Algeria officials, biggest Morocco arrivals. Oh, I saw something about this today. This might be the trigger this time. Where did I see that, actually? Thank you so much for your support and for reminding me, Viajando Ando. For the few people who might still be watching, I definitely saw an article that mentioned Algeria today. You reminded me. It's not there. Where was it? Can't find like the one article I saw that mentioned it. Oh. The New York Times did also mention what Viajando said, which said Morocco may have been upset about Spain's recent effort to deepen ties with Algeria. Anyways. Although I will say this. Suppose that suppose that part of the cause, I don't know. Suppose part of the cause was that for reasons for wanting to get back at Spain over something or punish them or whatever, or put pressure on them, that Morocco lowered the security on its side of the border, someone might say, well, the Spanish government should be able to anticipate that that's going to happen, right? So my point is that could be a reason, but even if that is a reason, someone still might fault with the Spanish government and say, like, you got to know that this stuff might happen and you need to be on the ball enough to be prepared if it does happen, right? So that would be, someone might say that that's one cause, but still find some blame on the Spanish side. I don't know. Anyways, thank you, Viajando. All right, guys, I think we have now gotten to that time. I think we have gotten to this time. I really appreciate, J. Tomp says this is the Spanish government allowing an attack on its own people. All right, I really appreciate all of you for tuning in to the stream and for being here tonight. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that things in Ceuta can settle down and be safe. And whatever's going to happen to deal with all this, I hope it can just be safe and nonviolent. Anyways, but I do very much appreciate you being here, and we will certainly be keeping an eye out on other news stories and come on the air as news warrants. So if you'd like, you can subscribe to or follow the channel Agenda Free TV. Also, what was I going to say? I would suggest turning the notifications on because you never know when big news is going to happen. I'm going to rush on the air. So if you don't want to miss a stream, if you want to know when we're coming on live to cover breaking news whenever we go on the air, sign up for our free notifications. It's free. You will get a notification sent to you every time. We set up our own system. It's really reliable. So check it out. The mods will post the link to the notifications in the chat. You can also find the notifications link on YouTube and Facebook in the description of this video. So sign up for the notifications. And I will post updates about various stories, like the one I just posted about the Minnesota story, on my X account, and this story on my X account, which is @Lookner. You can follow me over there for updates on news when I'm not live, @Lookner on X. And huge thanks. Also, I really appreciate people sending me updates in the chat. We read a lot of comments tonight. I appreciate people sending their comments in and their questions. So thanks for participating, people who participated in the chat. And also, thanks so much to our moderators who are awesome. A lot of people chatting tonight. I love that we can have a chat where people with different views can exchange their views, but that's thanks to our moderators because they are there keeping things civil and respectful. Huge thanks. People like Sarah55. Thank you, Sarah55, for modding. Ruth, thank you so much, Ruth, for modding. And all of our other YouTube moderators who have been there. Huge thanks. Also our Facebook moderators. Hang on a moment. What's happening here? I have lost. Need to get that up on the screen again. Paul Anderson, Michael Fergal, Kay Lowry Body, Andrea Holder, Darren Charlo. Thanks so much to all of our Facebook moderators. Really appreciate it. Also, our Twitch moderators. Thank you. Such as, oops, way too much is open here. Way too much is open on my desktop. People like, oops, Bastion Girl, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, Flux Eternus, and all of our other moderators over there. Did I think Mantle Rosen for Mantle Row Relson for subscribing? I don't know if I did that. Mantle Row Relson, thanks for subscribing on Twitch. So again, thanks to our Twitch moderators and all of our moderators. You're the best. Really appreciate it. That's why we can have our chats as you guys. Hey, also huge thanks to everybody who supported the channel tonight. Really generous of you. Really nice of you guys. That's what allows the channel to exist, is your support. Allows me to buy news footage and stuff. So thank you so much. Special shout out again to, I think I missed something. Joe, you know what I missed? Joe Seals. I missed this. How did I miss this? Joe Seals gave 50 memberships. Somehow I didn't see that. And Carrie NL, thanks for being a member. So Joe gave 50 memberships. I totally missed it. I'll have to message Joe and thank him. Thank you, Joe, if he's not there. Thank you so much, Joe Seals. Please thank Joe or someone else if they gave you memberships. I mean, Joe gave a lot of memberships, and Louis R. and 86 and Tormented Tantalus and everybody else I thanked before. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really nice of you guys. Did I thank In the Wind today? I hope I thanked In the Wind. I think I did. I don't even remember who I thanked. Thank you, In the Wind, for your support. Did I thank Malta McMurchie? Man, I hope I thanked Malta McMurchie. I hope I got everybody. I was trying to get everybody during the broadcast. I hate if I miss people. Well, hopefully I got it. But I really appreciate your support for the channel. That's what allows channels exist. So thank you guys so much. And let's see here. Let's see. Also, another good way to find out when we're live for those of you on X. Hey, follow us on X at Agenda Free TV. So, hearing two of myself now. Hearing two of myself. What happened here? Why am I hearing two of myself? Where is that coming from? Now I have to solve that mystery. Oh, I see. It's there. At Agenda Free TV on X. I always post there before we go live. I post updates about the channel there at Agenda Free TV. If you're on X, follow over there. And also, we do have a chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. Our Discord chat, it's free. Check out our Discord chat. A bunch of our viewers enjoy doing that. It's the same link as the free notifications link. Also, big thanks to our Discord moderators who moderate our chat on Discord. Thank you so much, Discord moderators. Also, for those of you who watch on YouTube, hey, turn on the YouTube notifications if you want, because that's another way you can find out we're live over on YouTube. And the YouTube notifications, the way you turn those on is you subscribe to the channel first. You got to subscribe to the channel, and then you click the bell and you choose all notifications. If you're already subscribed, well, then make sure you click that bell and choose all notifications, so you get the notifications. Big thanks to our Facebook subscribers who support the channel over there, like Dolly Clark and Kristen McConnell Gates and Diane Allworth and Sharon Klassen Goslin and Kay Lowry Body and all of our other subscribers over there. Thank you. And our Twitch subscribers, huge thanks. Hugh J, Pre-Breakfast Banana. And hold on a second here. Recovering RA. Thank you. Simp Nasty Scrimp, Amalian, Zambo 33. Did I say Hugh J? Wall Street Shaggy, Ma Florida, Mantle, Rorelson, Limey Show, No Goal, Space Turkey. Thank you, SDFDSV, Devil Doc, Slippy. Thank you for subscribing on Twitch, Flux Eternus. Thank you. And all of our other subscribers over there. Thank you. And Simp Nasty Scrimp, if I didn't thank you. And our YouTube members. Tim M6, Frosty, Berry, Trent F. Drums, CAC 813, Evelyn in Maine, Thomas J. Doyle Burke, Ian Dixon, Eric Johnson, Beam Me Up, The Bearded Texan, CAC 813, Evelyn in Maine, Tanks a Lot, Marisol Del Valle, Chris N., Crappy J., Deborah Rhodes, all of our other Twitch members, thank you. Chinot, and our other viewers. Rochelle Higgy says it's only going to get worse until it gets better. Thanks, Belle Clay, for watching. Yeah, again, I'll keep an eye on this. You know, if there's huge developments, we can always do another stream. Certainly be watching it. And thanks for watching. Also, a few more here. Brian Davia, thank you. Melissa Terry, thanks for watching. Jennifer Renee, Lou Knight, thanks Lou for watching. Brendan Bruman, Nicolette Parker, thanks all of our viewers. All right, we're wrapping it up. Let me do one last check here. But we're wrapping this up for now. I appreciate you very much joining the stream tonight. Okay. Oops, hold on a second here. Oh, by the way, I missed this. Sorry. Yeah, so, you know, if you want, Bill Melugin has been posting some videos from today. I'm not even going to get into it now. But Bill, yeah, I mentioned Bill earlier, but he's somebody with Fox News. He's been posting a bunch about this. So you can check out his feed. Bill Melugin, Melugin. I was talking about a couple of his posts. But I am going to be looking into this today and tonight and following it. And if there's big updates, I will, who knows, maybe we'll do another stream. We'll see what happens. All right, that is it. I am, Bill covers a lot of immigration stuff, but he's been keeping an eye on this. Anyways, I'll keep an eye on this myself, and we'll see what happens. But that is it for right now. Thanks again for everybody watching, and we'll see you soon with more live coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.